Alright everyone, Cowboy Trades here. Welcome back to the channel for another update on Bitcoin and the SP 500. Just wanted to get a quick update on what's happening right now. We have been discussing on the channel how this 4-hour diamond top formation was playing out for Bitcoin. We have broken to the downside of this. Now, since we've broken to the downside, this same pattern has appeared twice on the SP 500. So here's what to expect next for Bitcoin within the next 24 hours, and here's what the SP 500 says for the next move for Bitcoin. We'll talk about Bitcoin first and dive into the S&P 500 later. So starting off on Bitcoin, we have been discussing on the channel this rising wedge with a price target down at 25,500. This is also in beautiful confluence with the 200-week moving average. 25,000 is also this previous range, which has been established around about here, and 24,000 is the price target of the rising wedge. And also this Bart pattern slash diamond top formation is at 24,000. So we've still got a lot of confluence around about this 25,000 region. Not too much to update on this front. We are still breaking down since the top, making highs, lows, lower highs. Bear in mind this wick that happened over on Bitstamp didn't happen anywhere else, so we proceed to put in lower highs, lower lows, and Bitcoin is pushing up right now on the 4-hour time frame. So it's very, very likely that we top out very soon, make that next lower high before breaking back down. How is this going to happen? Well, let's move over to our next chart. We've obviously been discussing this 4-hour diamond top formation on Bitcoin. We'll discuss the one that's playing out on the S&P 500 in just a little bit. Of course, we'll timestamp the S&P 500 analysis separate to the Bitcoin analysis, but right now, Bitcoin is pumping. If we look at the 1-hour time frame, a couple of hours ago we were forming a bearish pennant, and even if you draw the top of this range, discount this wick over here and say, hey, maybe we're forming a bear flag, something like this, Bitcoin is pushing up to the upside of this bear flag right now. So does that mean Bitcoin has free range to break to the upside? Well, let's first of all draw our Fibonacci from the most recent swing high down to the swing low and really see what's happening for Bitcoin. Let's also draw the Fibonacci from the swing high as if we were drawing a 1-hour bear flag. Now, you can see Bitcoin does have a double 618 Fibonacci right here. So in my opinion, this is the next range to keep your eyes on for Bitcoin. 27,400 is going to provide a strong area of resistance, and also 27,600. If we do come over to the 4-hour time frame, it does look like the 4-hour EMA ribbons, they do want to cross bearish within the next 24 hours or so. Now, depending on whether we nuke to the downside after I record this video or whether we lollygag to the side, it will depend on whether we do cross bearish within the next 24 hours or the next 48 hours. You can see the general trajectory of the EMA ribbons was a little bit more bearish before I started to record this video. These were originally predicting a cross on the 4-hour EMA ribbons within the next 24 hours or so, but since Bitcoin has pushed up heavily in the past 4 hours, it may have delayed this slightly. Now, you can see we have retested the top of the 1-hour EMA ribbons, but in terms of the 4-hour EMA ribbons, since we've broken to the downside of this diamond top formation, which has also played out for the S&P 500, we have pushed up and retested the 4-hour EMA ribbons. So if we do continue to push to the downside, these may still cross bearish within the next 24 hours, and we may get that major move back down to the downside. So if this is still going to play out, something like this, something like a bear flag, bearish pennant, we may break down within the next 24 hours. Now, you can see we have actually pushed up right to the bottom of the first 618 fib, so do keep your eyes on this. If we do draw this out for Bitcoin, this is really what I expect. Within the next 24 hours, I do expect a flip to the downside of the 4-hour EMA ribbons, a bearish cross, and this may end up playing out something like this, a bear flag slash bearish pennant with a price target all the way down here at 25,500 for Bitcoin. Now, bear in mind 25,500, that may ring a bell. What is that price target? Well, it's the 200-week moving average. It is the rising wedge price target. It's only $500 above this previous range at 25,000. There's a lot of confluence and reason to believe that we would be moving back down to 25,000. So that's really what I wanted to update you on in the lower time frames. Really, I expect Bitcoin to do a lot of chopping and lollygagging within the next 24 hours. I don't expect a significant meltdown in the immediate short term after I upload this video. I really expect Bitcoin to be trading around about 27,450 up to potentially as high as 27,600 before we probably get a rejection from these fib levels or get a rejection from the top of this bear flag / bearish pennant and start moving down. Now, if you're watching this video and we start absolutely nuking and breaking down and losing support at 27,200, let's say within the next 4 to 8 hours, we start breaking down to 27,000, then this might be what it looks like. This might end up being a bearish pennant with a throwover over the top of the range, which may create a failed move equals a fast move in the opposite direction. And with Bitcoin's overhead resistance being at 27,400, these 4-hour EMA ribbons may be the rejection point. So that's really what I wanted to update you on the lower time frames for Bitcoin. I do think a significant move is going to happen within the next 24 hours. If we do chop sideways for the next 24 hours, then the 4-hour EMA ribbons may cross within 48 hours instead of 24 hours and may mean that the 24-hour move may just take another day or so. But really, a big move is pending, and the S&P 500 is also calling for this. We'll talk about that later, but of course, in terms of Bitcoin, wrapping up our analysis in the higher time frames, nothing to update, which we haven't already updated in our past few videos. In Bitcoin Flash Crash, we talked about our macro predictions in we are screwed if this happens. Bitcoin will nuke post FOMC. Really, in the past week, if you have been keeping up to date with my Bitcoin analysis, the price targets, the analysis is all still in play. Higher time frames, price gaps down at 20,300. And of course, we're forming this extremely strong regular bearish divergence where price is pushing up and making higher highs, and the oscillator is pushing up and making lower highs. This 1 day bearish divergence has literally been forming since right here over on the oscillator. So it's potential that it topped out after about 69 days. However, the oscillator is still pushing up and making, you know, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. So this may still be forming for Bitcoin. So we may have a 73, 74 day bearish divergence playing out for Bitcoin. And when this does break down, this will allow us to push down to the price targets we talked about at the start of the video. Of course, starting off with 25,500, bear flag breakdown price target, rising wedge breakdown price target, 200-week moving average, then of course 25,000 to the downside, which we did discuss just before then. Now let's quickly update the S&P 500 and talk about what this may be forecasting next for Bitcoin. Starting off with our volatility metrics, if we do look at the CBOE implied correlation, today, actually yesterday, late yesterday and coming into early today, we retested this upwards trending line of support, and it looks like the implied correlation index is slowly grinding up as volatility is likely to start coming back into these markets. Now, if you didn't know, this is inversely correlated to the S&P 500, so you can see this most recent macro top that happened to the S&P 500 correlated to the bottom for the implied correlation. You can see a lot of tops have beautifully, more or less, been formed over on here. You can actually see the touch of this trend line on the implied correlation isn't where the top was formed. The top on the S&P 500 actually correlated to where the implied correlation was bottoming over here on this range. Then you can see quite recently we've been topping out for the S&P 500 round about here, and the implied correlation index is bottoming right on this trend line right now. So if we do start to see a grind up again on the implied correlation, maybe it's a slow grind up, maybe we have a face tear very soon, but our volatility metrics are telling us that the S&P 500 is likely to break down very soon. And if we look at the price patterns in just one moment, it's not going to be looking pretty. But wrapping up on the rest of our implied volatility metrics, we are currently on the VVIX, still holding up very strong since the most recent face tear that initiated in early March. We do have support on the 786 Fibonacci if we do break down for the next few days or so, because over on the S&P 500, we have bounced from a pretty crucial level. Now, on the 1 hour time frame today, we actually broke down to the downside of this S&P 500 diamond top formation. And on the 4 hour time frame, you can actually see this is a diamond top within another diamond top formation. In fact, we actually, let me see how valid this one is over here. We may have had another diamond top over here play out with a beautiful retest. This one isn't as pretty. Actually, this isn't a diamond top, this is a half diamond top formation. So this one is actually completely beautiful. So far we've had 2 diamond tops within this greater diamond top formation, but as this one's already played out, I'll delete this one over here. So this is really the 4-hour diamond top formation that I want you to be keeping your eyes on for the S&P 500 in the next 24 to 48 hours or so. The apex of this is on the 30th of March. This is actually my birthday. So we will see probably a major move coming for the S&P 500 and Bitcoin within the next 48 hours. Now, you can see in the past 4 hours, the S&P 500 may have formed the uptrending line of support needed to complete this diamond top formation. Now, we are bouncing back up in the past 4 hours, so I do expect the S&P 500 to trade underneath 3,972 for the next 24 hours or so. I imagine we will fall to the downside of this diamond top formation before the 30th of March, once again, on my birthday. So if you do want to wish me happy birthday on the 30th, then feel free to leave it in the comments, or message me over on Twitter or something at 618_cowboy. Nonetheless, you can see, I'm going off on a tangent now, you can see that the S&P 500 is really breaking to the downside of the 1-hour diamond top formation. We are getting this confirmation of completing the potential diamond top formation right now. And as you can see, the S&P 500 pushed up almost to the short-term moving average, 3,972 on the 4-hour EMA ribbons. And while this has happened, wow, look at this. Just like we were talking about earlier on in the video, we were expecting a rejection to take place on this 618 Fibonacci region on the top of the, on the top of the bear flag uptrending line of resistance here, or to come into play right at the top of the 4-hour EMA ribbons. And that is exactly what we're doing. Of course, this doesn't mean that we can't push up a tiny bit further to 27,600. But of course, as I said at the start of the video, 27,600 down to about 27,400 is where I see this rejection taking place. And we've already pushed up to 27,400. So that may be the rejection. And of course, Bitcoin's 4-hour diamond top formation has already broken down. So if this starts to play out in the S&P 500 and the S&P 500 breaks beneath 3,954, we are going to get continuation to much lower price targets for the S&P 500, starting off with a 1.5% drop. That will be pretty brutal for the S&P 500 and much more brutal for Bitcoin. At which point, if the S&P 500 comes down to this price target at 3,908, this will complete this 1-hour bark pattern. This will take us to the bottom of the base of the 4-hour diamond top formation. On the 4-hour diamond top formation, it doesn't really look like this was supported by a bark pattern. So we will look outside of the charts for other price targets. On a lot of the S&P 500 charts, the downtrending line of resistance on the bear market has been right here, around about 3,930 or 3,925. I have just redrawn this a little bit fat-fingered, but you can see right here, 3,930 over on the CBOE chart. It's pretty much the same for the rest of them. However, over on Blackball, if we look at this bear market resistance right now, and if we zoom in, some of these S&P 500 charts actually have this downtrending line of resistance coming in pretty much right now. We retested this today, 3,955. So you can imagine, forget, the differences between prices. If we break down to 3,908, which we are predicting on this diamond top formation right here, whether you're looking at Blackball, whether you're looking at TVC, whether you're looking at the CBOE S&P 500 chart, you are going to be breaking beneath this bear market resistance. You're very likely to break to the downside of this bear flag, and you're very likely to come down to price targets such as 3,685. This is the bear flag price target, and also at which point you'll come down and fill this price gap at 3,579. So this is really what I see for the S&P 500. This 4-hour rejection will likely break us to the downside of this diamond top formation. We'll break through this price target, start heading down and losing this line of support, which is, well, currently support now. It's been the bear market resistance, at which point we'll break through the bear flag. We'll come down to this price target, 3,685, and then we might as well come and fill this price gap at 3,579, which will pretty much be placing us right at the bottom of where we had our bear market lows in October. So the S&P 500 is very close to breaking to the downside of this diamond top formation. And if that happens, Bitcoin will get much more continuation down like we have been talking about, and we may get a major meltdown to 25,500 like we have been talking about in this bear flag price target. So for today, my friends, that is all I've got. If you do enjoy my content, as always, let me know down below by leaving a like and a comment. Share the videos with your friends. If you want to further support the channel, feel free to click the join button and become a member today. Make sure to come and follow me over on Twitter at 618_cowboy. For today, my friends, that is all I've got. Like I said, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoy the content. For today, I'll leave it here. It's been your boy Cowboy Trades. I'm out. Peace.